Okay. I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but mainly I wanted you to have an opportunity to ask me questions if you wanted to. If there were a couple problems when you first went on today, a lot of you had a few issues. Things didn't open the wrong dates, and I corrected those. I was telling someone earlier that when I transferred this course from first semester to this, some things did not transfer easily. So I think I caught them, but you really keep me honest that way. When you notice something doesn't open up or something's missing, that really catches my eye, and I'll fix it immediately. But anyways, there's 3 courses here, about 75 students in all. And as you can see, not that many will be at the Zoom meeting. I never will demand you to go to a Zoom meeting. That's what an online class is all about. You sign up an online, it's understood that you don't have to go to an online meeting. On Wednesdays, I will be, I'm gonna have like office hours if you wish, in the afternoon and in the evening, but I want you to tell me you're coming. First semester, I didn't do that, and I'd be online all by myself and just wasting time in that case. But also, if it doesn't work for you, you tell me you want to meet with me anytime about a grade or whatever it might be, or something that's not being explained. I'm more than happy to meet with all of you, okay? So this is new to me, teaching online. It's not something I prefer. I've always taught face-to-face in the classroom, which to me is much more fun, but it is what it is, the times we live in right now. So some of you might like online classes. It gives you some flexibility. First of all, I just want you to have a chance that you looked at the syllabus. I want to share my screen with you for a minute. Let me know if you can't see it. Okay, can you see my screen right now, everyone?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go over the whole syllabus, but I thought I would just show you how things will be broken down. As you can see, there'll be 2 exams, mid-year and a final. And the assignments, there are the PowerPoints, and there's always a chapter assignment, and occasionally like a presentation assignment. That's usually about a video. So you have a video to watch on 1491 America Before Columbus. And then there's the discussion format, which is 20%. I do give extra credit. And basically on that, I don't do it on Blackboard, but if you get extra credit, usually it's like 2 or 3 points, which is actually quite a bit. And I'll add that to a low score, maybe the lowest score you had on a PowerPoint quiz or something of that nature, or the assignment. And that's how I'll do that. But it's always optional. You don't have to worry about that if you don't have the time or the inclination. Do you have any questions about this, the breakdown? Okay. The easiest part, and I want to discuss this with you, the discussion forum are easy A's, basically. You get 75 points for making a comment, okay? And it has to be substantial, it has to be something that you learned, backed up with some facts, okay? And you get 75 points, that's the highest you can get. And then if you respond to another student, you get 25 points. And once again, you should respond by adding something to the conversation, you know, using something, so maybe you can tie it in with something that's going on in the news today, or tie it in with some other facts on the reading, whatever it might be. But you don't get credit for saying, I agree with you, or yeah, I'm right on with that point. Okay, that doesn't work. Okay, so you knew to get 100 points, and it is an easy 100 points really, you need to respond both. And I think I mentioned this already in one of the notes I gave you. Try not to wait to the end of the week to do the discussion board, because if everyone does that, no one has a chance to discuss, right? To respond. So everyone loses out on that. So the way it works, if you can, you know, get your discussion board in Thursday, Friday, Saturday at the latest, I guess, but earlier the better. That way everyone benefits from that. Okay. Any questions? Okay. The other thing I put out as an announcement, and hopefully you saw this. This is right here, suggestions. First of all, you're going to have about, maybe depending on your reading ability and how fast you work, but you have about 5 to 6 hours a week. Okay. There'll always be a chapter assignment. There'll always be a PowerPoint assignment. And once again, just break it up. Start early, but do a little bit at a time, okay? If you sat down and did the whole PowerPoint, PowerPoint might be an hour, and I think it's easier if you just break it up. But that's your call, but you do want to start early so you don't feel the pressure at the end of the week, okay? Like the 1491 documentary, I think you'll enjoy. I think it's quite good. It's about the America before Columbus and what we call the Columbian Exchange. How you may not know this, but all the animals that you are familiar with, like goats, ducks, sheep, horses, they were not in the New World. Europeans brought them over. And of course, it changed forever the way the North American continent and the South American continent was. And then also that Europe did not know what a potato was. They did not know. And the potato, of course, is going to change Europe because that's what most people ate, and it caused a population explosion. So it's actually a pretty good, I think, a pretty good video. I think you'll enjoy it, actually. And I hope you enjoy a lot of the things we'll be doing. So you can read this for yourself, of course. I talked about the discussion board already. You should take notes on my comments because very often I'll stress why something's important. And that's really what I'll also put on the worksheets, but also that's the most important thing, okay? So if you're taking notes on those as you go, you don't have to go back later when you're doing the quiz and so forth. Now, some of this, especially in the beginning, like this week, a lot of it, I call it like background, like what's going on in Europe, what are the major civilizations, but Europe is going to have a major impact on obviously the Americas. Later about what happens to Native Americans, and later with the need for cash crops and the need for cheap labor, of course, we bring slavery into the issue as well. And these are things that have plagued the United States ever since, okay? Be careful. Sometimes students, I notice this, they cut corners, they look stuff up on Wikipedia or whatever it is. And usually if they don't really know the material, they're not really answering my question. And I grade you on what I mentioned in the PowerPoint. So you'll actually probably in most cases lose points if you do that. But if you do look something up, just give me credit for it. Just say, I looked this up on Wikipedia and this is what they said. That's fine. But don't put it down as your own words. And it's so easy to spot because number one, I can check for plagiarism, but also the vocabulary. Sometimes students write stuff down and I know they don't know what some of these words mean. This is so obvious. So just don't do that, okay? And you know that already, okay? And so I don't know if you have any questions on anything right there. Okay. And as I said, my mother always said, you do a little bit and a rest. And that's one of the things I always remembered from her. Okay. Any questions so far? The last one, and this is, students have trouble with this. And it's kind of a lengthy one, but I want you to think about, this is where the critical thinking comes in really. And I don't want you to lose sight of the story. It is a good story. You should really start your homework by saying once upon a time, and a time long ago. And I swear to God, if you actually do that, your grades will probably improve because I know you're busy people and you got a lot of things on your plate and your mind is probably going in 101 directions. But when you just try to learn this stuff without really thinking about the story behind it, that's where you start not understanding the material very well. So you're going to see a lot of this. Identify a term and tell me why it's important. And students usually don't have trouble identifying it, but they struggle with the importance. You have to mention like what impact it had. How did it change things? And you, especially in the beginning, a lot of students just get poor grades on this. They just don't seem to get that. And I think the problem with that is because they're not thinking about what they're doing. Like I said, they're just kind of reading mechanically without thinking. So you want to be careful of that. And you'll notice in the PowerPoints, there's always a video there's with it. So you hear my voice and I will emphasize why something's important. And I'll be tying a lot of things in with today. This is actually a good time to be doing this part of the course because you're going to be reading about, first of all, 99.9% of the American people know nothing about American history, unfortunately. But you're going to be reading about the Electoral College. That's in the news, right? And you're going to be reading about impeachment. The first president to be impeached, Andrew Johnson, fits into this course. And you've heard about impeachments, haven't you? And of course, one thing that is constantly through this course is the issue of race. You know, how do you enslave a people unless you dehumanize them? Otherwise, how would you ever do that? And so slavery is the constant motive behind almost everything we do in this. And of course, it leads to the bloodiest war in American history, the Civil War, and then Reconstruction, okay? and what happens after that. So I just want to mention this, that I call them IDs, and you'll see it even in your first homework assignments. It'll say like, pick a couple terms and tell me why they're important. And an ID is not an essay. It can be a short paragraph, but it's a writing assignment. Can you clearly explain something so that your younger brother or sister can read it and understand it? Okay, that's clarity. Simplicity is good writing. And so you want to just put it in your own words, but keep it simple. Maybe a sentence or two, explain what it is, and then one or two sentences, why it's important. Okay. You already have this, but I thought I should just mention this here. And I gave a good example, number 5, about Levittown. If you looked it up, you'd find out what it is, and it also tells you why it's important, okay, in Wikipedia, but I would still mark you down because you're not mentioning what I said was important about Levittown. So pay attention to that one, number 5, okay, when you're doing this. Okay, do you have any questions for me? That was really the purpose here. Some students sent me emails that certain things didn't open up, and I think I've caught everything. Some students said that things were blocked in their country, which made me think that I didn't think about this, but are some people here tonight from another country? Is anyone from another country? No? Has anyone had any trouble? I don't know, maybe you haven't had a chance. Has anyone had any trouble opening anything up?
I had emailed about the video, and how it says it was blocked from my country, which was weird because I'm in America, but I'm not sure if it was like recently blocked or something, because it says it was blocked for copyright.
Yeah, I sent you an announcement, the URL clip. I don't know if that helps, because it's on YouTube. Just go on YouTube, and I included that in the announcement, or I sent you a message. I forget if it was in the message or in the announcement, but it's just I figured because I just went on YouTube. It's still there. It's open, and that might be one way to find it. Okay, so try the URL. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was sent in the group assignment, because the one that I got, it was I'll investigate it.
Yeah, I remember you sent me a message, Willow, and that's after that. That's why I went on YouTube and I said, okay, let me just give them the URL clip, and if I can watch it on YouTube, you can, right? Makes sense to me. So that should cover that. But if you have any questions, of course, let me know, and I'll try to catch them quickly. Let me explain one thing. Under the folder for PowerPoints, it's broken into 2 parts, but I call it PowerPoint number 1, but I broke it up into 2 parts. The first part is simply explaining, once again, the background, the different civilizations, and how actually Europe was the poor man on the block. They really didn't have much, and the leading civilizations, you may know there's some other courses, were the Chinese and the Islamic civilizations. Those were the 2 major powers, and African kingdoms were also very sophisticated, but Europe was like a have-not area, and of course that's one of the reasons that sparked exploration, because they needed to get the stuff that the Chinese had or the Muslims had, and things of that nature. And the second part, I think it's kind of intriguing, but you're going to think you're in a Sunday school class maybe, or religious class, because Europe is going to be torn apart by religious struggles. And I find a lot of students, they're not even sure what a Christian is. A Christian is someone who believes that Jesus is God and died on the cross, and the 3rd day he arose from the dead and ascended to heaven. And Christendom becomes the major religion in Europe. It was only the Catholic Church. And then, of course, all hell broke loose when Martin Luther, a monk, decided to question the Catholic Church. And I'll mention this in the PowerPoints. That's why all of you have so many different churches in your towns. When you do that PowerPoint, pay attention how many churches there are in your town. It's all because of one man, Martin Luther, who broke with the Catholic Church. And you might say, what does that have to do with the US? Well, when people become persecuted for the beliefs, that's why many came here, like the Pilgrims who settled Plymouth and the Puritans who went to Boston. So it does tie in with American history. And you might be wondering about that this first week, why I'm dealing with that. And so do you have any other questions for me before I let you go? Anything you want?
Yeah.
Sure, go right ahead.
So the quizzes, they're mostly going to be based on the PowerPoints that you give?
Yes, 2. It's a chapter. They're not really quizzes. What they are, those worksheets. All you do is fill in the worksheet, do a good job and you get the grade. And then same thing with the PowerPoint. There are no quizzes per se, as you might expect, okay? They're just assignments. And so if you fill in the worksheet, that's it. That's it pretty much, okay? So you have, every week you'll have at least 2 worksheets, one on the PowerPoints and one on the chapter.
Okay.
And sometimes I throw in some interesting stuff like music, and I'll give you extra credit for that. I don't know if you're familiar with the musical Hamilton. That was a big hit on Broadway this past year, and it's historically so good. We'll give you a lot of Hamilton to listen to when we get to Alexander Hamilton and Jefferson and Washington and stuff like that. We'll talk about military technology, but a lot of that stuff, I'll give you it'll be maybe extra credit assignments. Okay, that's a good credit. There are no quizzes per se. And when you have a mid-year and final, it's going to be, I'll give you wide choices. I'll give you a lot of IDs, and I'll give you some essays, and you get to pick, like it might be 7 essays and you just pick 1. I might give you like 30 IDs and I'll ask you to pick 8. So it's pretty fair that way, I think. Okay.
So for the mid-year and final, are there any multiple choice, or is it
No.
more?
No, that's it. No multiple choice at all. Just,
Okay.
yeah. And I think what my philosophy is, I want you to show me what you know, not what you don't know. So that's why I give you a lot of choices. Okay. I give you 8 essays. I'm going to feel really bad if you can't pick 1. Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm not doing a good job or something's wrong.
Wait, so when you mean essays, do you mean like, is like the mid-year actually an essay, or is it just like the IDs question?
No, there'll be both. There'll be some IDs, part 2, and you pick like, say, 8 out of 30 of them. And then for the essay, and that's a multi-paragraph, what an essay is. So it might be something that takes a good page to write, maybe a page or 2 pages. And then you'll have maybe, I'm guessing 7, 8 essays. You just pick 1.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if it was like a web paper or something where I had to be like.
No, there's no term paper per se. Yeah, and that's basically it. And extra credit, like I said, I'll give you some opportunities for that. Also, extra credit if you do extra, go above and beyond on the discussion boards or something of that nature. Okay. Any other questions? Good questions.
Yeah. Are these gonna be a weekly thing? Like
no. I'll be Wednesdays. I'll say I'll be available in the afternoon or I don't know, 9 to 12 usually, I think it is, and then like 7 to 8 or something like that in the evening. Because some of you work during the day, I'm sure, or some are work at night, I don't know. So you just tell me and I will be on Zoom. But theoretically, I'm not allowed to make you go to a Zoom meeting because that's not what an online class is about. So this might be the last time we ever meet. Isn't that weird? I know you're gonna miss me. But anyways, so if you want to have a Zoom meeting, you want to discuss some of the material, because once again, maybe I didn't do a good job explaining it, or you just want something clarified, I'm always available for you. And if Wednesday doesn't work, you just say, can I meet you Sunday night? And maybe Sunday night's good for you. More than happy to do that. And what I might do is also put out, if anyone else wants to join us. Okay. Sometimes, oh, go ahead.
So for the tests and stuff, how many, like, is it like assigned in the daytime and then you have like all day to do it, or is it like?
Oh no, that's a good question. No, it's everything for the week. So you're on the final week. If you look at the weeks, the last week says final exam, and just like on a Monday, or you'll get the exam and it's due at the end of the week.
Okay, great. All right, because I have accommodation, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, everything, and that's another reason why you always have an assignment sheet with the PowerPoint with the chapters that helps you read the chapters and fill in as you go. Okay, so that's to help people who, especially of a second language, right? Helps them if English isn't one of their strong points or whatever it might be. So, and the PowerPoints are good because you know how sometimes it goes too fast. You can stop it. You can stop it if you think, and just take down notes as you go and then start it again, that type of thing. So I'm talking regular level like this during the PowerPoint, and you might want to stop it and replay it a little bit or something like that. Okay.
Last question. So the way that the assignments are assigned, which one do you think would be good to do first? Because right now I'm working on like reading the chapter and filling out the stuff. Should I do like the presentation first, then move on?
I think the chapter is probably best.
Okay.
Because what you'll see when I do the PowerPoint, not necessarily this week, but I'll mention the chapter, or I'll actually go over something in the chapter, a little more detail maybe. I kind of weave the two together, if you know by that.
Great.
PowerPoints always include stuff that is not in the chapter, because that'd be kind of redundant. I go into more detail, but they go together. They complement each other. So I would say doing the chapter first is smart.
Thank you.
Okay, good question. Anyone else?
I have a question.
Sure.
When you do your PowerPoints, the live one on Sunday,
Yeah.
is that going to be in regards to the worksheets for that week, or is that just going to be on the chapter? I know it's kind of like both, but I'm
They're
just
both.
curious on what it's going to consist of.
Now, this week, the PowerPoint pretty much are not on the chapter, especially when I talk about the turmoils in Europe. But I'll mention the Columbian Exchange. So even the PowerPoint on the documentary, they all weave together. They should, you know what I mean? They click together, basically. But
Okay.
I would just, like, you can look at the PowerPoint first if you wanted on 1491. That wouldn't, you know, you'd be able to follow that pretty much. And, but yeah, I think the chapter is good to do first, and then the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Yeah. Good questions. Anyone else?
Yes, hi, I have a question.
Sure.
I'm confused with the presentation assignments because there is no instructions on the attached document. Like when you open it, it just says like one.
Check it. I think it is there now. You should see a document that says 1491 with the presentation. There's the documentary, the actual documentary, you know, YouTube clip, and then there's also the document. I double check. Okay, I think it should be there. And if not, what classes are you in? Are you in B3W or B4 or B5? Do you know?
No. Like I'm talking about like the document. When you open the document, the 1491, it just says one, like A, Queen Isabella of Spain. Like
yeah,
what are
no,
the instructions to that?
Oh,
Like,
okay, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you just fill in. So it says Isabella of Spain. You write down why is she important, and it asks you different things in that sheet. You see?
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, like I think one thing it says what crops or what was this, and you just fill it in as you go. Yep. Good question. Okay.
I had a question. It's kind of stupid, but I've sorry.
No, there's no such thing as a stupid question.
I was about to say I've always been told that there's no such thing as a stupid question, but should I like very in-depth take notes from the book, or should I like go with like what's on like the sheet?
Go on the
Yeah.
sheet. Yeah, the whole
Okay.
purpose of the sheet is to help you.
Like review the chapter.
Yeah, so you know what's important. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Because I
that's
was
what
taking.
the sheet is your quiz in a sense. You know what I'm saying? When you pass in that sheet filled in, that's your quiz. That's your grade. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. Good. Boy, that was a stupid question. I'm sorry. I had to say that. I had to set you up. I do have a weird sense of humor, but you may never know that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. And once again, feel free to call me anytime. Okay.
I have a question.
Okay, sure. Alex, is that you, Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
For the PowerPoint one, on the attached file, it says that there's two PowerPoints.
Yeah.
The world in 1940, 1492, and then the turmoil.
Yeah.
But there's only one video. Are both PowerPoints in that one video?
No. What class are you doing? Do you remember if it's B4, B3?
I'm in B5W.
Okay, I'm going to check that as soon as we go off, and thank you, and I'll make sure it's there.
Okay.
No, it might be the date is off, and so it's not showing yet. That's probably why. Thanks for telling me that.
You're welcome.
I have to do a better job checking all these things, as you can tell.
And also, when you go to like the week one folder where it has all the different specific assignments, some of them say they're due on this September 13th.
I changed that. Yeah, that should be okay now. But I'll double check. I'll make sure everything that's from the first semester. So I'll make sure those are off. Thanks for reminding me. And you're in what again? 4 again or 5? 4?
I'm in 5.
5. Okay. I'm going to double check 5, especially.
Yeah, I'm in 5 as well, and I just checked, and it's still showing September.
Okay, I'll double check that. Which one was it showing? PowerPoint or was it the presentation? Do you remember?
It was a presentation on the PowerPoint.
Okay, I'll double check that right away. Okay. I also go through what I call the student eye, so I can see what you see, and that helps me a lot. Sometimes I don't catch that unless I do that. Something looks like it's showing to me, but then when I go through your eyes, I notice it's not showing, so I will double check that as soon as I get off. Anything else? Okay. Silence is golden, I guess, huh? Okay. This is weird. I may never meet you again. This is getting sad. Anyways, but like I said, please, anything like that happens in the future, always, let me know right away and I'll fix it, and I'll be very careful going from here on in, and we should be fine. And once again, I hope you, as much as you can on an online course, I hope you enjoy the material. It's very pertinent to today. And once again, most Americans really don't know a lot of this stuff, or they've forgotten it. Okay. Good night, everyone. Going
Good night.
once. Going twice.
Good night.
All
Good
right.
night.
I should give you all extra credit for being here, right?
Yeah.
You like that idea. You like that idea.
I
Totally
actually,
beneficial.
I actually had a question.
No, go right ahead. If
you
the rest, or you can listen. Go ahead. Willow, is that you?
Yeah, it's me.
Go right ahead.
Do you think that there's like a possibility we could have? I have trouble forming sentences. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So like have like a review that's like optional, because like I'm pretty sure you can do Zoom classes that are like optional, but like
Yeah.
have like a review for like the fine. Would that be something that could happen? Or
I can set up a review optional night or something like that. That's fine.
I'd
No
be
problem.
interested in that as well.
Okay.
yeah, because review is good.
It's always
I mean,
hard to pick. I don't know how many of you are there. Like, I should put out some dates and say like a Sunday night, usually a good time when people are around, they're not working or something like that. But also it can change from week to week if people want to review, and I'll try to pick up one time that seems to work, but I'm not going to shut any of you off. So if you want to have a review a certain week, I'll put it out there and we can do it.
Because one of my teachers last semester, I believe it was psychology, she had like office hours, but one of the days was like Zoom optional. So it's
Okay.
like she would like do her work like on Zoom, and
Mhm.
like if people joined, they joined.
Yeah.
Like she'd be doing
That's what I
stuff
mean
at
by
like
office
office
hours.
hours.
When I said office hours, they're always on a Zoom. So same thing. Yeah. Okay. That would be good. We can do that.
Glad I said that.
Good. Good. All right. Anything else?
So, this isn't exactly a question about the course. It's kind of more of a question regarding e-tutoring.
Yep.
I was wondering, so this would also kind of relate to the office hours.
Mhm.
So you know how in class, if you're doing work, you can easily walk up to the teacher and ask them
Sure.
a question.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But like with online courses, you kind of do it on your own.
Mhm.
And then if you come across an issue, you'd have to like email a teacher or things of
Yeah.
the sort.
Yeah.
With e-tutoring, could I just like, I haven't tested it yet, so I don't really know how it works.
No.
Could I just join for like a simple question and then leave, or?
Of course. Oh yeah. 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 If it's like
Yeah.
you don't have to stay for the whole time or anything like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And once again, you might have a question, you don't want to wait for a Zoom. And if you just call me and say, look, can we have a Zoom meeting tomorrow? And if it's a time, and I'll do it with you.
All right.
And
Thank
it
you.
can last for 5 minutes or 4 minutes, whatever, or longer. Okay. So I will set up a Zoom time like Willow, you suggested. I usually did Wednesdays, but I don't know why Wednesday, to tell you the truth. It doesn't matter to me.
I think Wednesday is good because it's like people have time to review, kind of have like a little grasp of what the classwork is going to
Well,
be
yeah, you
talking
need some
about.
time to see what you have problems with. If you do it at the beginning of the week, it doesn't work.
At the end of the week, it's like there's like too much, like there'll be more stress because it's gonna be due soon.
Sure.
Like Wednesday's pretty cool. Yeah.
In fact, that's probably why I picked Wednesday, but I forgot why. Thank you for reminding me, Willow.
No
Could
problem.
they be recorded? Because I have another class on Wednesday that meets from 7 to 9.
At night?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that I would do it during the day too. That's for that reason. It's always Wednesday day and Wednesday night.
I could also, if you'd like, look for, I'm not sure if you know how to do the recording, but I could look for you try to find like a link on how to do it. Because I know my sociology teacher for this year, he has no clue how to do Zoom. So
Mhm.
he's like, if you guys have any tips, please, because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Well, I could also, this is being taped, for example, and I'll put it
Oh,
out there
okay.
for people who aren't here, because you've had some good questions, and so this is good to put out there. And okay, I'm going to go with the Wednesday for now, but like I said, if Wednesday doesn't work for somebody, that doesn't mean we can't get together. Okay? All right, sounds good. All right, thanks for coming. I really appreciate that, and you really did have some good questions. And once again, catch me when, I'm glad you told me about the presentation not showing. And I think someone said PowerPoint too is an issue, right? Yeah, one of the PowerPoints was missing. So I'll take care of that right away. Okay. All right, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye-bye.
Mr. Professor,
Yes.
are we going to be planning for this Wednesday or following Wednesday?
I can do it this Wednesday.
And then Sunday as well? You doing it or your live one?
No, it's just Wednesdays usually.
Usually Wednesdays. Okay. So that in your syllabus, it says Sundays live.
Yeah, I was going to do that, and then it didn't work out last semester, so I'll see if that works this time, and we can do it live.
Okay. So we're planned for this Wednesday and then we'll figure out Sunday or whatever.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
And don't forget the extra credit you got for being number first.
I told you I'd take any extra credit I can get.
You're a smart lady. You're a smart lady. By the way, that's
Alrighty.
a nice tattoo you had, huh? Did you see the tattoo?
Yeah, I have a lot. There's a lot
Oh.
there.
All right.
All
No
righty.
extra credit. No extra credit for that though, Brittany.
That's
don't-
fine. It doesn't please everyone, so I
Don't-
get it.
No, it's not that. Just don't push your luck. That's all.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.